we were practicing with the um, at the choir that we learned the new tempo
Mm-hmm.
because it was the like Gershwin had the new tempo in in the
Like
way he
swing, you mean, or like jazz?
no, it's I can see it now. It's like you have the waltz one, two,
Yeah.
three, one, two, or the four thing. But this was where you go to two and then you wait and then you do another one. It was the well now it's constantly in all the songs it's the new beat.
Mm-hmm.
It was a new beat at the time.
So which
You know,
one of his
like Gershwin
pieces?
brought in that new beat,
Right, but which piece? Like Rhapsody?
like Rhapsody in Blue,
Okay.
and but then I remember we were practicing whatever song it was with the new beat, and it was kind of hard because we were not used to that,
Yeah.
you know. So that was interesting there. Yes.
And this was when you were in high school doing this?
Uh, it must have been the end of high school because then because let's see, what was this now? Because I remember when my parents had the accident. It was at that point already. I was still living at home. Kind of.
What was the accident they were in?
Oh, they had that a motorcycle accident. Where mom was in the sidecar and she broke her pelvic bone and she had to be in the hospital wherever it was in the mountain. It was a Sunday drive they went, and that's when they got a head-on crash. And dad flew over his motorcycle. He had very little injuries,
Mm-hmm.
but mom was in the sidecar and she was jammed in there. And I remember she broke her middle finger there, and then her pelvic bone, and she was in the hospital there for 6 weeks.
Okay.
We would go and visit her in the train,
Yeah.
because it was in the mountains and mountain area, and that's what happened at that time. Yes, and I'm pretty sure I was working then already.
So after high school.
Oh yeah, it was. Now I'm kind of comes back. I think I started to work in '54.
Okay.
Yeah,
That makes sense.
so.
So when you were doing the cello, that was when you were doing
That's what in high school.
the new tempo you're talking about.
No,
Yeah.
no. That was when we practiced at the radio station. At, at the choir at the radio station.
Oh,
That's when
so the choir was doing
the choir was doing that.
Gershwin types.
thing.
Oh,
Yeah.
interesting.
Whatever the tempo was that time. It was new for us
Yeah.
to get the beat in, and I remember it was kind of hard for everybody
Yeah.
because otherwise you had 1 2 3, 1 2 3, or the four beat.
Yeah.
But that was different where you had the two and then you stopped, and then you did again. So.
And you did. So you said you were. Was it the Bavarian Orchestra? What was it called? The Bavarian.
Bavarian radio uh, station.
Radio.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the radio.
orchestra,
It was the
yeah.
radio because I remember I could hear our group of our choir thing in the radio. It was a half-hour show where they brought the different songs from the radio station.
Okay.
So.
And how often would you?
And we would sit at home, and the three of us, mom, dad, and myself, we would play chess.
Uh-huh.
While we were listening, and we would play chess there.
And so when you performed on the radio, I assume it was live.
Well, I don't know if they have it live or if it was taped. That I don't know.
Well, did you ever hear yourself on the radio?
Well, only in the choir.
No. Did you ever hear yourself at home listening to your performance on the radio?
Yes.
Oh, yes, and it was taped. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yes.
Yeah.
But I mean, it was a choir, so I wouldn't.
No. But because I was wondering if
Oh,
you
yes,
only
wait.
heard the other performances.
No, that was
You
our,
heard
was
your-
our performance.
So now that they're taped, I wonder if these are somehow available to be listened to somewhere.
I'm sure somewhere many icons might be there. But I tell you, another thing was, I got paid for it.
Okay.
And I remember it was $20, and from those $20, I bought flowers to bring to my mom to the hospital in the mountains.
Okay.
I remember that.
Yeah.
We got paid for that.
Wow.
Yeah.
How often would you perform on that radio show?
I don't know. It was maybe for a year. I belonged to that group, but then I think with work it got too complicated.
But would this be every weekend you would perform on the radio?
I think it was a weekly thing, but I don't remember how often we went for practice. That I don't remember anymore.
And what was the name of your choir group that would perform? I mean, was it called the Bavarian Radio Choir?
It was a Bavarian choir thing.
Okay.
Yeah. So but I still remember, when the light would go on, the red light where it was, nobody could open up the door, and also for the outside ones, they know they couldn't come in because we were performing, and it was taped. So, but there was the light there. I remember that.
Was there an audience?
No.
So you're just a studio.
No, it was just a group that was
Okay.
performing there, and they were taping it. Now I don't know if it was a live show or if they were taping it. That I don't know.
Well, I mean, even if they didn't have tapes, they definitely often recorded right to a direct disc, a record.
Most likely at
Yeah.
that point it was, because it didn't have it's now.
I mean, tapes were around in the 50s, but it depended on how widespread the technology, because I'm sure it was expensive as heck back in the 50s.
Yeah.
So I don't know if Munich is obviously a big city, and they may have been able to afford having an actual tape system, but if not, they still went direct to records.
I think Munich was pretty big. I think there was Munich, there was Berlin.
Probably Frankfurt.
Stuttgart, I think, had another one. That was about the three big ones in Germany.
What about the north one? What by Denmark? What's Hamburg? Hamburg had an orchestra, didn't they?
Well, Bayreuth, for example, it was the big thing with Wagner. Was Bayreuth. I mean, they had Munich had a big orchestra. But we had nothing to do with that. With us, it was the choir. But big concert halls in Munich, and always was big, and also the opera. It was all bombed in during the war, and but then they rebuilt it, and they opened it. Let's see, they opened it the day after the big performance was the day after Kennedy was shot.
Okay.
It was right there, and they weren't sure because with him being shot there, it was a big world thing that everything stood still, even there in Germany.
Yeah.
And they weren't sure if they should have the big opening of the opera because of that. But then everything was, the people were invited and everything, so they did it, and opened up the the opera.
Were you there at that opening?
No.
Okay.
No. It was just a big dignitaries.
Probably exclusive, yeah.
But I did go to the opera with, not her name, with
Heidi?
No, not Heidi, but oh shoot.
Was she over here visiting?
Corinne was her last name. I can't remember now names. My names
Regina?
were always bad.
Was there a
for me
Regina
when I was
you
young,
knew?
and now it's worse. Huh?
Regina? Was there a Regina?
That's right.
Okay.
Thank you. Yeah. I went with her and her husband.
Okay.
The three of us went to the opera.
Okay.
Yeah. That was very pretty. And I went myself several times after that. Just by myself.
Mhm.
Went to the opera, took the streetcar and went into the city. I mean, that was the transportation
Right.
you had at that time.
And that's where you would see Carl Orff?
That's when I had a series for the concert. I had that. For the opera, I think I just bought ticket when there was a particular one I wanted to see or hear.
Mm-hmm.
And I also remember got tickets for the Bolshoi ballet when they came from Russia.
Okay.
The original, and that was, it was very, very hard to get. And I remember I was just standing because I didn't have a ticket. You couldn't buy anymore; they were all sold out. But I stood there in the front, and somebody sold me a ticket.
Wow.
And I could get in there, and it was worth every penny. I tell you, it was. Beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful, yes. So, I always was in with that music stuff. Always.